Now,
Virginia?
yes.
And the chaos makes other people around you mad.
It does what?
Angry. It makes other people around you uncomfortable.
True, but nobody died from discomfort. Remember that. They only think they will. I've never had anybody die from that. All right. Now, this chaos I want to put underneath is health manifesting itself and trying to work for a new position. Right now, there's something interesting going on in the medical world about the whole business of how to create health when I'm very interested in all this, in organ transplants, how to manage that chaos. They're learning more and more about that all the time. I don't think we've learned enough. And also, the chaos that comes from rearranging ourselves, which has to come. So what the process is how we can look at chaos and recognize that all that happened in a moment in time is that things are not where they were. And so instead of taking big steps, we take little ones when we know we're in the chaos period. Now there's a physiological state that goes with all these, which I will tell you about. And you go find it yourself, because you're going to go through it many times here. Now, in stage 3, we have the seeds of the new possibility. Here is where I, as a therapist, as a leader, am constantly modeling those new possibilities. I do it with humor, I do it with stories, I do it with my hands, I do it with words, I do it with music. The new possibilities, what's possible. I do it with role-playing. I do it with posturing. What can you see as the new possibilities? And that is what begins now. As we float through, pull through, agonize through, whatever it is, from this foreign element, which we say we want, into this stage, and we begin to get comfortable, or more or less comfortable, with the fact that we're going someplace we've never been. See, I have a hunch that our adolescents would do much better if the parents around knew that this is where they were. They've never been grown up before. And so they need to have somebody holding their hand as they move. And many adults have never even finished their adolescence. So, of course, it's a case of the blind leading the blind. Anyway, all right. Now, as we move through this, which can take anywhere from 3 seconds to 100 years, I don't stay around that long. Because I create a context in which there's safety, and in which there's trust, in which there's a willingness to move out, then this doesn't take all that long. But it has taken that long with some people. Now, stage 4, we come with a new image about what's possible. And I'm going to use you, Lynn, as an example. You yet do not know what's possible for you as you move through the chaos. So you don't know that you're going to come out okay. I know that, but you don't know that yet. I don't think you do. I hope you will learn that. So now we come to what I call the practice state. Now for the moment, let's just assume that 10 is a number that represents what you had over here on prediction. Now with a new possibility, let us say your prediction ability is up to 2. And you're going to scramble a little bit. Now what you have to have here is you have to keep a line for yourself, your new possibilities. That's why they keep getting reaffirmed. That's why I develop support groups. That's why we need support groups, to reaffirm our intention. See, one of the things that I found why I came into family therapy was I was working with people and I knew they were improving. They'd go back to the family and somebody would fall on their face, either that person or somebody else, because I hadn't changed anything in the system back then. It became very powerful. So this is full of practice of all sorts, and you're going to have opportunities to do that, to practice new possibilities. Today, when Debbie so beautifully was talking with people about, can you say your yes is a no to me? And you all know that you scramble for that, because many of us know how to be liars. And that's not immoral. It's only that we were brought up to lie. We should never let mama have a bad face. Better to lie. Okay. And that's called civilization. Of course, that works on our blood pressure. Anyway, so here's the practice period. And that has its verbal, its visual, its oral, its thought, its feeling, its action, and movement to it. So this stage, there's lots of this going on. Now, when we go to the next stage, which is stage 5, we are moving toward 10. We can predict at 10. We're moving toward that. So we are, in effect, in a new status quo. We have moved through, so we're now in a new status quo. All right. If you know that says new status quo. Now, the new status quo then puts us into a position where we're now beginning a whole new set of predictions. Because the human being, prediction is related to balance and being able to move toward the future. And one of the things I try to do is to help people to know you go to the future, not with content, but with process. And an example of that is that when I step someplace I haven't been, I take very little steps. I listen, I watch, I ask, I move. And that takes me everywhere. I remember when I first went abroad into some of the Oriental countries, and I was told that I never got too close to the men there. Or I should stay 6 feet away, or I don't know how many feet away. And I started that garbage. And then I saw, that's the nuts. I have to be wherever I need to be. And so I was where I could be, and that's how I discovered the second skin. But anyway, now, these are on the anxiety level. High. This is high anxiety here. You know how you feel when you go into, hey, I want to change. Or somebody tells me I have to change. Anxiety goes with that. Anxiety is the cousin of the connection with disturbing your security. And that's so important to remember. Anxiety is not bad. It is something that says, hey, we're going on a new trip. And we don't have the trip plans in a way that we have become used to them. So the anxiety is high here, and then it gets higher here. But if whoever is dealing with this is also able to be centered, the anxiety is always manageable. And that's where I am. I don't attempt anything unless I'm centered. Now, part of centering is to tell you where I am. If I'm scared, I'll tell you. That's centered. It doesn't mean I've avoided anything. All right, so the anxiety moves through here. So we have this. This is anxiety. And here we get a lot of it. Like Lynn says, my God, what will the people think? Well, they won't drop dead. That's one thing to remember. And then we come to this place, and the anxiety begins to ease as we get to the practice. But what we're afraid of is that, oh my God, I learned it once and now I forgot it. Or I thought I knew that. And now, I don't know it. What's the matter with me? Am I stupid? We have to learn, relearn, and relearn again and again. Because we come in at 10, and we're about at 2 on the prediction level. So we have to give ourselves equal experience to go beyond. So at the practice level, what I try to help people to do is to notice when they're doing what fits for them. And to give themselves a celebration, however they do it. A kiss on their hand, or get somebody else to do it, or I don't know what. Anyway, and then they come where the anxiety is beginning to lessen. And they can feel a new sense of predictability. The first time that a person says, I want, who has never said it, right when they start here, somebody will complain and somebody else doesn't give them what they want. And I say, well, if you ask for it, well, no. If they really love me, they would know it ahead of time to give it to me. So I said, well, that's a lot of bull. Now, what happens if you let your throat open up and say, this is what I want? That's the new intervention. That's the foreign element, which I'm pushing. And then, oh my God, I wonder if I'll hurt somebody's feelings. I wonder if they'll want to do what I want. I said, I haven't the vaguest idea, but could you live in any of those possibilities? Yes, I could. All right. So then we go into the practice. Hey, it's fun. Maybe I set up some music. I want, and sing it to different kinds of tunes. That's a nice thing. And then we get to a new place, and it doesn't seem so foreign anymore to say, George, what I want is, and George can smile and say, well, that's wonderful, but I don't have it for you. Or he can say, I'd love to hear you say what you want. You can do all kinds of stuff. There's nothing that says he has to do anything. But I would love it if he heard me. Okay. Now, these are the stages that I can absolutely predict that you will go through. Now down here, I want to make this a little bit smaller, but I want to show you something. For people that are the first to sticking their feet in the water about change. Marty was talking about change. Remember she said she lived in St. Thomas, and then she came back to school. And so many of you have talked about the change. You've done it. So all right. Now let's think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First time around, anxiety, all kinds of anxiety. That's why you need somebody there to hold your hand. Okay. Oh, I'm going pretty good. Let's see. Now then, let's start here. The first time around, 1. Now I'm going to make my thing. That's the entrance of a foreign element, a big point like that. And then what follows the point is this. That's chaos. And then move up, and you get to a place where you can practice. So that's this, and you practice that consciously. You put it in front of your mirror. Okay? Say, I want. I want. And then you put it on a tape recorder, and you play it back to yourself. You give yourself all kinds of little ways to do that. Then you come to a new place. Now you're back to this status quo, or to a status quo, but you're in a higher level of the status quo. You've gone to a new balance. All right? Now then, I'm going to erase this now. So now we start again, because the effort, the effort of the human being, growth wants to find a place to grow. It wants to put out, find an opportunity to grow. That's part of it. So we get there the first time, and now, after we've rested a little bit, then we come again with the foreign element. And this will very likely still be some form of anxiety, but it will be pushed by your health. Then we go into the chaos again, and then we go into where we do some more practicing. I don't have to say, now I know how to say I want. Now I want to say I don't want. No, thank you, love. And nobody drops dead, okay? So now we go, then we find another place. Now by this time, let's say the anxiety was like, say, 10 here. The second time around, we end maybe at 5. Now, of course, what we're beginning now is to change anxiety to excitement. And so as the anxiety now, see what carries us here are the new possibilities. And then we move it, and we come here. The anxiety is only 5 now. It was 10 before. Now we come into this next part, and we again see something we want to do, but now it's beginning to turn to excitement. All right? So now at excitement, then, when the chaos comes, it becomes an opportunity to cope. Look what I've got here. Isn't that amazing? Look at this, you'll say now, instead of thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? So this now, this new coping here, becomes a challenge. And it becomes something that your body loves because you're feeling it in a new way. So this now becomes a challenge. It's still chaos, but you don't retract from it. And then you come up again to your place where you're seeing all kinds of new possibilities. And they keep growing higher level, and then you go on to a status quo. And then what you find is you're living a life of excitement and growth. And so for the rest of your life, you go on like that. And that leads you to youth. That leads you to having your brain cells being excited, and that your body does all kinds of wonderful things, and you do all kinds of wonderful things. And that business about the anxiety goes lower and lower, and the risks you're willing to take become greater and greater, because in the risks are the new possibilities. Can't tell you how many people have told me about what they've done. Now, my hope for you is that we will go through each one of us here, at least 3 of these, so that you begin to feel the excitement of the possibility, that your blood flows in your veins and arteries in a way that excites you, and you have stars in your eyes, and you don't know what's going to come next, and you do what I do then. Say, I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll wait and find out.